Digital 410 Productions proudly presents the What's in Your Head podcast.
Digitized live from the ACT Computer Studios in Cape Coral, Florida, it's the What's in Your Head podcast with your hosts Gordon and Don Abernathy.
What's up, OG5? It's been a while. Has it been a while? I think it's been a while. It's been a while, hasn't it, not, Gordon?
It's been far too long. I guess we'll just get the bag out of the cat.
How did you get the bag out of the cat?
How did I end up with COVID?
Yeah, so we didn't have an episode last week or the week before, but last week we re-aired a best of video when we had Bill from the Unsupervised Podcasting here, and we tested out the horrible, incredible burger, and then Carrie and Bill both tried Spam for the first time. But all that happened because you, even though you got shot number 1 out of number 2, you still got the Boogaloo flu.
Yes, I did. Actually, both of us did. And I tell you, it was actually kind of rough. I did end up with a what everybody said would never be covered by insurance, expensive treatment, similar to what our former president had, maybe a more modern version of it. Unlike him, I did not feel like $1 million after I was done. I felt like I got ran over by a Mack truck. I went, after I had the Regeneron, I went from 101 fever to 104 that night. I was leveled. But then my fever went away the following day. I tell you, it's interesting. Lost all my appetite. I don't know how much weight I've lost. I probably should step on the scale. Maybe I'm back down to where I should have been. But the things that tasted weird.
Did you do the onion challenge?
Oh, fuck no. I would probably barf all over you.
Well, you can't taste it. That's the whole point of the onion challenge is you can't taste it.
Well, you can taste. The thing is I could taste a few things, but some things tasted more than others. Everything tasted burnt, or you could really taste salt.
Well, that's interesting because when Carrie had COVID, not everything tasted burnt, but everything smelled like you just got home from being around a campfire for 3 days. At first, it smelled like a dirty ashtray, and then it kind of progressed into what Demon Jones refers to as campfire cologne. Everything just smelled like you've been camping all weekend. But you're saying you didn't have the smell, you had the taste.
My smells were definitely knocked down a few shades. Taste were just jacked up. A lot of nothing was appetizing. But the worst part is...
Now, did you have COVID 1.0 or 2.0?
I'm going to assume it's the Delta. That's what is the predominant strain right now across the country. And but I ended up in a hospital. And the story behind that is a failure on the medical part, because the whole reason
That's not the medical part that I know.
I had CT on CT crime. What basically happened was I was implored using telehealth. I was implored to go down and go to urgent care, just because we found out recently I've got asthma. I got a shitload of allergies. It's been a horrible thing.
Did they use the word behoove? Did they say, sir, it would
no,
behoove
there was no
you.
behooved.
I implore you because it'll behoove you.
Yeah, I do got an interesting aside once we get there. They just wanted to make sure my lungs were good, because this thing can get the fluid in the lungs, especially if you got some breathing problems, which apparently I have developed throughout my life. And so I went down there. They did the x-ray. They're fine. They're like, hey, man, you fit the profile to get this monoclonal antibody treatment. I said, cool. They're like, you got any clots? And I'm thinking, I said, well, there may be a chance. Okay, let's get it checked out. They said, well, unfortunately, it's too hot. It was 117 that day, so their CT machine couldn't fire up. They couldn't get the room cool enough.
It was 105
So why don't you
in
just,
my truck today.
You know what? You got a hospital you'd like to go to, and maybe just go down there, and just so we can run our test and make sure you're good for this treatment.
Now, he asked you if you had a hospital you would like to go down to, like you.
Yeah.
Like
So
you're one
I
of these
picked a
people who
hospital, which,
frequents hospitals, and you have one in your Rolodex.
Well, I know, but as I've built enough of them, I knew a pretty decent one to go to, which I did.
Okay.
Everything was sailing along. Now, it was busy, but I got an ultrasound, make sure there's no clots in my legs.
Are you pregnant?
Because felt like it. Then we went into the emergency ED CT room. I tell you what, you know how things in Star Wars look all beat up and shit?
Erectile dysfunction CT room.
Well, you know, CAT scan.
Oh,
you know,
okay,
so
yeah,
that
sure.
you got the donut sitting there, right? But this donut looks like it was a prop from like Star Wars. It looked like it was blasted and beat to shit.
Maybe it was.
And I'm like, wow, they must get some rough patients in here.
Mm-hmm. Somebody
And,
left a cell phone in their pocket.
You know, he had me sign off on the glow in the dark, liability deal. Shot me with the iodine because you're going to feel it warm. That's how you know it's working. So we get in there, fires up the machine. I'm like, I'm not really feeling warm. Machine goes, and the machine's done, and then I start feeling warm. Come to find out, he had his timing off. So, yeah, his timing was off, so they didn't get a good image. Because of this.
Now, is this something he has to calibrate before each time, or is it because the Millennium Falcon here was such a jalopy piece of shit that Chewie hadn't
I don't
kept it up
think
to
he was.
snuff?
I don't think he was looking at his watch. You know, sometimes you just still got the old timing.
Oh, so he was on TikTok while he's supposed to be watching the timer.
You know, looking at the dude, I would not.
And you know how it
doubt
goes. You think you're going to go to TikTok for 30 seconds later, and 15 minutes later, you got a guy in a CT machine burning up.
So this was about 8:30 at night. About 9:30 at night, the doctor who checks in, said, hey, you're gonna stay overnight. We're gonna get you a different image, a nuclear scan tomorrow. It's a whole different machine. And I asked why. He said, well, you got, so these levels are up, this and that. We just want to be cautious. I'm like, okay, whatever. Abundance of caution. This is gonna be expensive. I grayed out the credit card. Ugh.
Your insurance doesn't cover any of this?
Well, it covers, yeah, but you've got a deductible and a 20% that you meet. But I do have other insurance that will cover it later, because I'm extra insured. Sorry, you have none. But so I am in that fucking ER until 4 a.m. At this point, I'm up 24 hours before I get my room. They take me to the second floor. Every door is shut. I've never stayed in a hospital where the door is shut.
That's the downside.
Kind of nice, to be quite honest.
That's the downside of living in a huge metropolitan area. Extremely absurd wait times. Here,
Well, it's because of COVID, though. It has spiked. And by the way, you guys are doing worse than us right now. You got like a 20% positivity rate.
we have billboards that say, hey, the emergency room in Naples, there's only a 15-minute wait, and it's actually a digital clock and it updates.
Let me tell you about those, because they say the same thing for the urgent care. I'll go over there, and I'll say, hey, it's 20 minutes. I'm there, and I'm 60 minutes later, an hour later. Hey, your timer says, and I'll pull it up on the web, this. They're like, well, they just haven't updated the time. I'm like, but if you can't get this right, this is simple. If you can't get this right, how am I expecting you to get my medical treatment correct?
Because that's just a fake lure
It's advertising
to get you there so they can make more money.
Yeah, absolutely. So needless to say, I was in and out. But the
That's like
interesting
the
thing.
hospital's equivalent to the fast food service timer.
Oh, it's exactly it, except, they move people out. What they do is, I think, once you're out of the waiting room and then you're shoved into a room for another hour, a patient room, now you've been moved off the timer, right?
Yep.
Fucking Wendy's. You've ruined it for everybody.
There's like reports back when they were trying to push the nationalized health care, some of the proponents to it would use stories like out of Canada and Europe of stories like that where they would leave people in the ambulance in the parking lot because then it doesn't count against the wait time in the emergency room and shit like that.
Well, needless to say, so all this happened. I did get my treatment. I do feel better. I did take your advice and watch Black Summer, but, figure why not? I've got COVID. I'm feeling like crap. I can hardly breathe. What's a better time to watch a whole new zombie series?
Yep.
And I tell you, it added a little. I already had a little sickness in my stomach, so I think that added to it. And the crackhead zombies, you're absolutely correct, but I hate to say it. If this shit happened, I think it'd be a little more real than the shit that's going on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, for those of you who missed it when we did the talk-up about Black Summer here on the previous Netflix, I basically said the zombies on this one, opposed to all the other movies and The Walking Dead, is these zombies are really more like meth addicts who are hopped up on PCP and bath salts. They're on 11. There's no walking. It's run, stop, tweak, look around, scream to the heavens, and then take off running again.
And it's that scream, right? Right when they turn, and they turn quick. It's that scream. It's just, it's not the sound, but it's literally just some dude screaming.
It's kind of like when you see your
Top of
cat in the
lungs.
living room, they just stop, look around, all of a sudden they realize they're supposed to be in the bedroom, they haul ass in there. Just
Maybe that's what they
put a
modeled him
scream
after.
in there, and then that's what you would have.
But yeah, I actually like the series. I'm waiting. I think the third season hopefully it'll be different. It'll be interesting. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a lot that goes on, and don't get yourself too invested in people.
No, that's what I said. They're not precious with their characters at all. And as you and I were talking off air today, there is no quote unquote good guy in that series. Everybody's a piece of shit. Which
And
rightfully
you
so.
think about it, you and I would turn into probably a piece of shit too.
Yeah, you're just.
Yeah.
But usually in those movies, those comics, those series, there's loyalty among the group. Even
There
among
was slight,
even
there's
among
some
the group, it's
slight loyalty.
it's a very thin hierarchy, and when it comes down to hey, you may hold me up. Sorry, not sorry. I'm fucking out of here.
And I tell you what, teenage daughters are still a pain in the ass, even in the zombie apocalypse.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants to get out of the town they're in at that age. It don't matter if the world's falling apart or not.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Speaking of
but
fucking the apocalypse, it's interesting. A lot of people don't know what's going on in Canada. I've been trying to get someone on here from the Great White North. I don't know.
take off, eh?
Take off, eh? But for those of you who...
I can't even do it. That's it. That series, if remember we used to listen to the audio tape and
Yes.
Doug McKenzie
Dave
come out of the
Algozer.
left speaker and was it Bob?
Yeah, Bob and
Bill-
Doug McKenzie.
come out of the right, and then we had our stepmother had this nice tape deck that you could record dual channels like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the beginning of my interest in audio editing.
Stereophonics.
Stereo.
And now for the What's in Your Head podcast TikTok lesson of the week.
Yeah, you guys don't hear about us because of this.
Sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million. You don't get stellar headlines like these without greasing the wheels a bit.
Yeah. Trudeau has so much power that he actually has the ability to mock, make fun of, and joke about the freedom he's taken from us. If that's not a sociopath, then I don't know what is. So when you're wondering why you don't hear from Canada, it's because Trudeau owns the fucking media. Pay attention very closely to the conservative creators from Canada. You'll see shit.
Could you imagine...
Thank God we've still got the two-way. Although they're trying
Could
to
you
get rid of it.
imagine if Biden or his little mouthpiece got up on the TV or showed up on Fox News, like in front of a panel up on a pillar, because CNN, they're part of it. But imagine if they were on Fox News or one of these new conservative things and they're doing a live broadcast and Biden or Harris or their mouthpiece, the redheaded stepchild's up at the podium and says, people criticize us by saying the media...
Do you have to take a Saki shot every time you hear her name?
I always forget her name, so the answer is no. But could you imagine if Psaki was up there and saying, Fox News and the conservatives, they say that CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times, they're too easy on us. But they're not too easy on us. they deserve to give us the coverage because we gave them $600 billion. So
Yeah,
I'm
bought
going to
and paid
say
for.
that's money. Well, that's literally what Justin Trudeau did at this speech he was given. He's saying, hey, the people out there saying the media's going too light on us. No, they're not. We paid them $600 million. So they're only going to tell us what we say. And by the way, we just passed a law 3 weeks ago at midnight, the C-10 law, where we're allegedly trying to protect our Canadian actors and artists under the guise of, well, they're getting ripped off because their content is being used in other countries and they're not getting residuals, which is a valid point.
Which is kind of interesting since most American shows are filmed in Canada by Canadian actors and actresses.
Well, I was going to say, which was a valid point, but he reversed it by not allowing Canadians to view content on other platforms out of other countries, not preventing other countries
Well,
from viewing their
that was a
content.
mistake. There was an oversight, a technical error. We did not mean that to happen. Well, it's just like, and I don't want to go on a political rant too long, but
Speaking
like,
of technical error,
the-
sorry for Facebook just freezing up
Yeah.
momentarily, but it's back on.
like the Fauci email dumps, you never heard about it anywhere in the legacy media, except for the other outlets because they're. It's insane. That guy should have been. If Biden was smart, he would have got rid of him. But I think it would have helped feed. Be fodder for everything else. But hey, I noticed you
Hold
have
on real
been
quick,
doing.
just because we're still on the topic a little bit before I close it up. I know you've been sick. I know you've been in the hospital. You have COVID. You've been watching Black Suns. Are you up to date on the insanity going on in South Africa?
No, but I do know that the one of your neighboring countries, who you get a lot of refugees from, had a president assassinated.
Yeah, but hold on. You're jumping to Nigeria? No. Where the hell? Haiti. Haiti. That's where Haiti. South Africa. We got some insanity going on. Now, for those of you who are on YouTube and watch Colion Noir, is that his name? Colion Noir?
That's his plume.
His nom de plume.
Nom de plume.
He
yes.
was playing a news clip out of
He
South.
is quite literally an African American.
He was playing a news clip out of South Africa, kind of proving why it's so important that we have. Not that we have the Second Amendment, but the Second Amendment is around to remind the government that we have a natural-born, God-given right to protect ourselves. But he was playing this clip. Now, before I play the clip, I want to give you guys a little background on what's going on in South Africa, because I've found that a lot of people have no idea what's going on unless they're on TikTok. This is from the BBC News. South Africa Zuma riots. What's behind the violence and looting? Some are calling the events over the last week's democratic South Africa's darkest hour. It's more than a spontaneous triggering of anger brought about by the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma. Many analysts say that that there is a third force sympathetic to the former presidents at play. The government's language has too changed significantly, from not saying much in the early days of the lawlessness to calling out what it says has been a, quote, economic sabotage. Some commentators have gone far enough as to warn that the unrest has the hallmarks of the, quote, attempt of a coup or an insurrection.
Coup d'etat.
President Cyril Ramaphosa, sorry for destroying that name, has said that the violence was pre-planned, but has not said by who and who's financing it. The associate editor of Daily Maverick has written about the coordinated strategy of chaos masterminded by a dozen close associates of the former president, referencing a number of senior sources from inside the ruling African National Congress and its intelligence services. Hafferi, that's the guy's name, has sketched out an outline of strategy from the burning of the transport trucks in Zwala Zulu National, seen in the early days of the insurrection, to the blocking of key routes from the ports of Durban to the economic heart of South Africa, suggesting that it was intended to further undermine and weaken an already fragile economy. Basically, you got an organized group. Now, when I say group, if you've seen these videos, this isn't like what we saw. Imagine the Black Lives Matter and Antifa riots. Imagine if you put those two together and then multiply it by like 1,000, and then you just send them, or maybe 2,000, and just send them through cities, destroying every single warehouse, mall, storefront, anything that is basically a retail or economic-based platform. There is just videos of warehouses that are just completely decimated.
Would it still be considered a peaceful protest?
No, they're burning down buildings. what malls. By the way, I found out Woolworths is still around in South Africa, but they're literally
Not now.
They're literally going in droves like cicadas and just burning everything in its path. And it's not just like, I said,
You mean Californians? Oh.
yeah, no, it's not like just a couple hundred, it's thousands of people. And there was one video clip where these store owners at this mall knew that they were coming their way, and it showed them early in the morning dousing like wax all over the floor on the tile. And then when they came in, you just saw them on the video falling down, like busting their heads open. And so it's gone to the point where they're burning down buildings. They're literally trying to destroy the already fragile economy, basically to say, look, this guy got in office and everything went to shit. Kind of like what they did with Trump, with all that. They're taking they're taking their playbook from the Antifa pages. But I bring all that up to say this right here. Check us out. If this guy's not a modern day fucking hero in a pretty much helpless situation, I don't know who is.
So there are a lot of people out there who like to say that the Second Amendment is not a God-given right.
Are trained, but you haven't been deployed here specifically by authorities. Mr. Nhlanhla, tell us why you're here. I saw you were carrying a rifle. Yes. Why is it so important for you to protect Maponya Mall?
Yeah. What's important for everyone to understand, right, is that the township economy belongs to the ordinary people of the township, being us. So if we have the dependency syndrome of always waiting for a savior to come and save the township, we'll keep dilapidating the way we are currently. So we are saying we are in partnership and joint ops with all law enforcement to ensure that what's left of the township infrastructure from an economy point of view is protected. And it's our responsibility to ensure that we protect it. We know Soweto is a place of millions of people with 11 police stations. That already tells you the stats alone that
11 police stations supervising a million citizens.
Not enough. They don't have the capacity necessary. So it's important for the community to take responsibility, partner with law enforcement to ensure that our infrastructure is protected the way you see. The township has been looted.
So this is one of the few guys who has a firearm in the area because they don't have Second Amendment. He probably works for a national park where they're trying to fight poachers, because he kind of has like fatigues on, and you hear the reporter say at the beginning of the clip, you haven't been deployed, but you are trained. So I'm assuming he's probably one of these guys who, fights against poachers or what, but he's one of the few people with a rifle, and he's taken upon himself. He said, look, this is our town. The economy belongs to us, not to the government, not to these rioters. And, at the end of the day, the economy takes a shit. It affects us first. And it's our job to protect it. And it's like he's one guy with a gun versus all these people, but he's
still outnumbered.
Yeah, but he's making his patriotic duty to do what little bit he can to help pick up where there's not enough police force and try to kind of fight this useless fight. But at least he's willing to do it. And it's nice to see, and kind of calling Noir went on to say after the videos, look, they don't have a Second Amendment, but for all these people saying, why do we need a Second Amendment? Why do we need a Second Amendment? It's exactly for this sort of thing. That it's to prevent us from losing our firearms so that if, heaven forbid, fucking something like this happens, we can protect our economy that belongs to our townships and our cities.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're the world's largest army. Yeah, albeit a little untrained for the most part, but it's still enough to give anybody pause.
But you're trying to digress from this conversation and go to a different topic?
I don't even remember now. You circled me back around. But I did. Oh, no.
Okay,
Crash.
I'll buy you some time to reboot your mental hard drive because you got COVID brain. You familiar with the website Jalopnik? Jalop?
Yes, Jalopnik.
Jalopnik.
Yes, I actually watch a lot of car reviews and read a lot of stuff on there.
Dayline Jalopnik. Richard Branson did not go to space.
By
Eric Schilling.
And you know who's the big point shitter on that one? Come on, he's the biggest point shitter out there. He's great. He's an intelligent man. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay, well, probably because Neil deGrasse Tyson realizes that, as pointed out in this article, if they claim that he did not go to space and there's two famous astronauts who pioneered space travel who technically didn't go to space. The billionaire Richard Branson was sent 53.5 miles into the sky on Sunday.
I did watch that live, and it was actually still pretty cool.
Short of the Karaman line, which is 62 miles above sea level, and where it is generally agreed upon that space begins. Branson did surpass 50 miles above sea level, above sea level, which NASA gives out astronaut wings. But according to this article, come on, man, Branson's stunt only barely cleared that. There is officially no American government definition for when space begins, apparently in large part because the government doesn't want to define it. However, because the government doesn't want to define it because it could possibly change the technological developments. But let's accept that the 50-mile rule for the argument's sake that says that Branson was indeed in space, where he spent about a minute and a half before falling back to Earth, which is the functional equivalent of having a layover in JFK and claiming you've been to New York City.
Well, let me stop you right there. One of the things I remember through my fog of watching is at the very top they did what they called the flip.
Mm-hmm.
It was that flip that created the 0 Gs. So they weren't quite fully
So they're basically
out of the grip of gravity.
They're in
it's
a
vomit comet style.
I was going to say they're in a vomit comet at 50.5 miles.
It's interesting because, and I think I've seen that. I think that girl has gone up before on one of the flights because her mouth is agape. A blonde girl, just in awe. Now I imagine looking out those small portals was probably pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the experience is extremely amazing. And I think this definitely is pushing private space flight in a direction that it needs to go. It's nice to see something different than a standard rocket taking off.
But Eric Schilling wants to change the definition of going to space, Gordon, because he's making this decree. Instead, Eric hereby proposes a simple, achievable definition of, quote, going to space, which is that you must orbit the Earth at least once while you're up there. Something that Branson did not do. And while Alan Shepard and Gus Grissom might be a little mad that their flights will no longer count, their first flights will no longer count, and Alan Shepard and Gus Grissom's day, they weren't weirdo billionaires engaging in pointless space races. Which seems to be
pointless space race. That dude needs to take a leap himself. Because it is very pointed.
Oh, I was going to say that very last sentence kind of leads you to his whole outlook. This is just another cat.
Sure,
that's
he would rather than spend
jealous.
Money on homeless.
I was going to say it's another cat that's extremely jealous that somebody has, quote unquote, way too much money. Because as we all know, money is a limited resource, and when someone has more than their fair share, then there's not enough to go around, right? That's how our financial system works. There's only so much money
on the homeless, man.
There's only so much money out there. So if you have, like a bag of M&Ms, there's only so many M&Ms. No, that's not true. Money is not a natural resource. Him having all the money in the world isn't preventing you from getting money. It's luck and life choices. But
if anything, it should drive you.
Yeah, right. No, we can't go to those days. You want to lighten the mood a little bit?
Go for it.
You want a little interaction? Okay, you're going to
sure.
go to the live stream. Let me know when you can see it.
I'm already on it.
Okay.
But there's a delay. Remember that.
Okay. Have you heard about the Victorian Karen meltdown? The Victoria's Secret Karen meltdown?
There's so many Karens out there. No.
Okay. Hold on a second. I keep saying Victorian. Oh, Victorian. The Victoria's Secret meltdown, Karen meltdown. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So apparently this lady was starting a fight at Victoria's Secret. And as oftentimes happens when you start a fight or something happens on premises, you don't see... Go ahead.
Do feathers start flying?
Well, no, you don't see what happens that started the argument. You only see what happens once the camera's produced. But apparently this...
I just would think that any kerfuffle at a Victoria's Secret be quite...
No, excuse. Now you... Oh my God!
So apparently these two ladies were fighting, right? And so the lady who was basically being assaulted by this other lady pulls out her camera to protect herself and to get it on file of what's going on.
Okay.
And so once the Karen, quote unquote, sees the camera pull out, her whole demeanor changes to the fact that she starts crying, wailing.
Oh my God!
Okay. So she just swung on this lady. Now the lady pulls out the camera. She throws her clothes. She's crying, and now she's crouching down like an infant.
She just tried to run and hit me. And now she... Did you see her? You saw her, right? They all saw her. Oh my God. Karen had a breakdown. She tried to hit me.
It gets to the point where she stands up.
Can you stop for a second?
Sure.
I feel like I'm watching two toddlers in a fight.
Oh, it gets worse.
And Mama caught it.
What do toddlers do, or what do certain people do when they're confronted with
reality?
With problems, and they don't have coping mechanisms?
Well, that's why I'm saying it. They turn into a sobbing mess, and they didn't do it. And
well,
I'm now the victim, and blah blah blah.
She goes full toddler and fakes a pass out, and to where she slowly lowers herself to the floor. She don't just fall down. She checks her pulse.
She doesn't do the.
Oh no, she does. It's real dramatic. And so she doesn't just fall over and pass out. She slowly lowers herself after checking her pulse. And then she lays on the floor for 2 minutes, motionless, to which point the Victoria's Secret cashier says, "Next, please." And so now she lays on the floor, just pretend to be passed out. Here's a grown-ass woman, probably in her mid-30s, just laying on the floor of a Victoria's Secret like a toddler without the crime, pretending like she passed out. Like a fainting goat, if you will.
Like she didn't get her participation trophy.
Yeah.
Did you have 2 yoga mats?
No, I had one.
I feel sad for her parents.
For one of them, just one I had.
Did you have 2 yoga mats? She's still laying on the floor.
Actually, you know, I have a coupon for the free panty, and it says everyone is excluded except for the period panty. But I actually wanted to see what that was.
I can show you.
Okay.
And so now she's still laying on the floor, and a lady with
The
the
only
camera,
thing you're missing is a couple of guys in white jackets
not
with
sure
a
what
push
about-
broom.
You keep lying saying I'm threatening you, so I'm recording to protect myself.
Lady, you're making this worse. You realize what you're doing to yourself right now?
Exactly.
This is going to go on blast.
In a post
Now you're going to just look like the biggest twat in the world.
In a post interview, the now dubbed Victorian Secret Karen said that the reason she acted this way is once the camera came out, she didn't want to be recorded because she didn't want to be on the internet because she was afraid she was going to lose her job. Now,
but
No,
but
she's
your
chasing
reaction
down
is
Victoria's Secret.
that's going to create a worse situation for you.
Exactly. If she would have just turned around and walked out of the damn store, there would have been 30 seconds of footage.
Hey,
But-
Karen, you need to take some problem-solving classes. You really do.
Now, she's chasing around the store. Once again, she said that when she saw the camera came out, her concerns was that she was going to get fired. If she would have turned around and walked out, this lady would have had 30 seconds worth of content. You know how much content this woman gave her? How long do you think this went on?
No, I got to just check
Probably
myself. She's trying to attack.
21 minutes.
21 minutes.
See, and she
Now,
said
does she?
I'm
Is she a? She said she was worried about being fired. Is obviously she doesn't work at Victoria's Secret, but she must work at them all.
I think she's a teacher.
Explains it all. You just snapped it into focus.
Listen, to her.
This
She's
is what's teaching. Was that a 3-year-old? Did I just hear a 3-year-old scream?
These are adults.
And they're teaching our kids?
Yes, this is an adult woman who allegedly is a teacher. Having a complete
Have
meltdown.
you showed any teachers in your close family this video?
No, I heard about this today, and I think she screamed so loud it destroyed the audio. But could you? I could not imagine.
She's learning from her children in school.
Imagine if that was your wife and her girlfriend.
We're done. I'm
Well,
sorry.
If her boyfriend and her husband was there, that would probably
he would have grabbed her by one shoe
No,
and drug
he
her out the
wouldn't.
door.
That behavior means that if she does have a significant other, he tolerates it and probably accepts her truth and lets her do her thing. But that is just fucking embarrassing for everyone involved. And how that goes on for 20 minutes without security coming and escorting them the fuck out of there?
I'm surprised there's no additional angles on this from other cameras.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I haven't.
And we may see them in the future.
Yeah, probably. I did see, which I can't. Oh, Hold on.
Dear
Let's see
God,
here.
we're doomed.
Woman raises $100,000 after sharing the video of the Victoria's Secret Karen harassing her. This is from The Independent. Why? This is the world we live in. This isn't me. This is the way it's written. Why the race is important in this factor? I guess maybe because the Karen was white. Very first word, very first sentence. Black woman has fundraised more than $100,000 for legal fees after so-called Victoria's Secret Karen apparently charged at her and chased her around the store before calling the police. So why does she need $100,000? The Nigerian American was visiting the Victoria's Secret store in New Jersey Mall when she was allegedly harassed by a white shopper.
That white girl didn't act like any Jersey girl we ever heard of.
And hold on, Karen, quote unquote, is a slang. Okay, we know what Karen is. According to the Insider, the shopper was shopping for underwear when the Karen started browsing uncomfortably close to her. She's
all up on her shit.
So she asked her to back the fuck up. Instead, Karen reported the young lady to the Victoria's Secret employee for threatening her. The distressing recording taken by the woman then appears to show the Karen rushing at her, screaming, asking her not to be filmed, and then chasing the woman around the shop. She later voluntarily left the store and was not arrested and or charged. And so why does she need to raise a fucking $100,000 for legal fees?
You know, sometimes you just.
It
need
appears,
a
blah blah blah. I was treated like it was in 1920 in the Short Hill malls, and I was assaulted and harassed by a white woman, and nothing was done about it by security nor the police.
That's because a chick completely melted down like a worthless pile of goo.
Well, there is a question: why does it take more than 20 minutes for security to get there? But if you're
have you met mall security guys?
If you're wanting the 17,
they're running around on their little Segways, putting a little marker against the wall to make sure they hit all their points.
And if you're wanting the 16 to 19-year-old little chicks who work at Victoria's Secret and the two fellas to do anything about it, yeah. She continues, I'm looking to hire me an excellent attorney who can help me bring light to this wrong. Her initial goal was $20,000, but supporters have raised more than $100,000 already.
Good for her. Good for her. All I'm thinking is I was thinking it was cue Benny Hill music. Guy comes out, drags her out by her shoe, and then moving on.
$100,000, and she's going to win the lawsuit, and the lawyer who takes it to court is going to make more money than she does, and it's going to be...
It was funny. You talk about lawsuits and that, and I was watching a commercial. Unfortunately, I've watched a lot of TV recently, and there was a lawyer ad here, and he says, "We guarantee that we will not make more money than you on this case." So what you're saying, Mr. Lawyer,
you're going to get 49%.
Is it's going to be a net zero because whatever you win is going to go to you, and now you guys are. Well, you didn't make. We're not charging you more than what you won, but we got every dime you made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's insane, dude. Does this make me bad? I was getting at a mailbox today. There's a new resident across from the mailbox with California tags, and he decided to cook on his grill out in his driveway, and I muttered real loud, Jesus fucking Christ, another Californian, as I got into my truck.
Yeah, I have that in me too, but then I remember that I came here from California, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah, but you weren't one of them.
No, but I was one of them who thought I was cooler than everybody else because I had California tags, and so I kept them on longer than I really needed to.
It's gotten to the point now where even the news is bitching about California.
Yeah.
And the Californians running the prices up. And then Mayor Goodman called California out this last weekend, even though they told their people not to come here. But what she said is, the problem with the traffic is California. Well, what do you mean? Because it goes down to 2 lanes as soon as you hit that other side of the road. California, you need to expand your lanes in your state from 2 to 3. And that's exactly it. It is still 2 lanes each direction once you hit Prim all the way down past Baker.
They can't though. There's very important things going on right now, Gordon. They're trying to reinforce their mask mandate right now.
Yeah, they are here too, but you know.
And I heard earlier tonight that one of the local sheriff's office somebody said they're not going to enforce it. Will the mask mandate in California come back? The short answer is yes.
It's kind of voluntary here right now, which I'm fine with, whatever. But that being said, I notice your love of fishing has reached all new heights lately.
How's that?
Lots and lots and lots and lots of fishing.
Yeah.
Footage. Nothing wrong with it.
Well, yes, there's lots of fishing footage. 3, since I started the fishing footage, our subscriber base has gone up. We've actually brought in a lot of subscribers due to it, getting a lot of content. But as I said in the last video, I got OCR events coming up in October, so the fitness content will come back. Once winter rolls around, then the World War II reenactment content will come back. You know how I am, though. I got an addictive personality, so whenever I get into something new, I go whole hog. And the fact that Carrie loves fishing, too, and it just gives us something to do. It's like, okay, I worked all day. Once again, when we go fishing, it's not like we pack everything up, drive 45 minutes. I was actually joking the other night. Tonight was the first night we didn't catch anything. But I was joking tonight. I said, well, the problem is we only go fishing within a half a mile radius from our house. So we can even...
But what I've noticed is she seems to land more than you do.
Yeah.
She's the better fisherman.
Yeah.
Yes, Carrie, I said it.
Yeah, that and I realize, like, we're pulling out relatively small adolescent bass from one location. And I have looked into this stuff and realized that fish eat other fish. And so these fish that we're pulling out, they're all the same size because they hang out with their own size. They eat the smaller ones, which means if you're pulling out 5 or 6 fish that are half a pound or smaller, the chances of you pulling out one that's going to be 2 pounds or bigger is going to be slim to none, because those younger fish wouldn't be hanging out there because the bigger fish would be eating them. And so I go down to the other part. I fish out into the lake and try to pull in bigger ones, which doesn't work. I pull in the same size ones. But tonight, I think we fished that area dry, even though we catch and release. I think the word's gotten out that everything here hurts your mouth, and or they've moved on. But tonight, we literally did not catch anything.
Now, were you out on the kayaks tonight?
No, we haven't been on the kayak in 4 days because it's raining. The fish only bite, and if you watch enough of our YouTube videos, you'll hear us make comments. They literally do not bite. We've been out multiple times at 4 o'clock, and you will not get a bite until 6:30, 6:50. So they only bite between 6:30 and 8:30. And it's hurricane season, and like tonight, it was raining. Actually, it was still kind of raining when we got there, and it finally stopped. But there's just not enough time to load up the kayaks. As one of the videos you'll see, we actually got caught in a rainstorm. There's just, when it's raining at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the radar shows that it's going to be thunderstorms all night, we're not going to take the risk of getting in the kayak. We just get on the seawall. If the rain stops, we'll fish for a bit, and then if it starts lightning, come back, we'll hop in the car and leave. So it's less commitment by seawall fishing. I would rather be in the kayak. We catch bigger fish, and we catch more fish from the kayak, but we just go out pretty much every night. I have decided I need to start running in the morning now because it has kind of gotten in the way of my running. So I think I'm going to move my running to the morning before work, and then there's been nights where I've gone running after the fishing and after the kayak, which, by the way, after the kayak, it's pretty nice because, the 2-mile paddle is almost like a warm-up. So, your body's already stretched out. So actually running after kayaking ain't bad, but running after walking up and down a seawall at night's kind of like, So I'm trying to get motivated to get my running back, but August is definitely going to be the start. I just got to adjust my schedule a little bit. But yeah, no, we've been pulling out some bass. The video I just posted last night, I think the bass she pulled out, we weighed one yesterday. We have a scale. We weighed it for fun. It was about half a pound. I think the last one she pulled out last night was about a half a pound. But yeah, we've been doing a lot, and I got some other content I'm working on too. But it's just, it goes where it goes.
100%. You ready to go into the news?
Yeah, we'll cut this episode a little short tonight because it's been a while and you got foggy brain and all that stuff. But let me pull up this soundboard here. While I'm doing that, this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast is brought to you by our friends at Computers. Computers has been providing IT solutions for all Southwest Florida since 2004. If you need any help, give them a call at 239-283-1120 or go over to the all-new refurbished act-capecoral.com. or hit us up on our Facebook page. But I will say this, if you're hitting us up on our Facebook page, if you want immediate service, give us a call at 239-283-1120. When you leave a message in the messenger box, sometimes it goes a few days without being seen because, well, we manage so many Facebook pages. So, if you want immediate assistance, please give us a call at 239-283-1120. And while you're on the internet, head over to the all-new What's in Your Head podcast and the refurbished d-410.com. We need your help. We need you guys to support the channel by signing up for Patreon. We haven't mentioned the T-shirts in a long time. You guys have been listening to the show. The web host has noticed. We're using up more resources. They really want me to upgrade my package because my package isn't big enough. So if you guys want to help us do that, please sign up for Patreon. It's $1 a month, or go buy a T-shirt from the website. Just go to d-410.com and click on the merch links and choose a T-shirt. That'll help out greatly. And as mentioned before, you want to help out, help us through YouTube. Go like and subscribe and share us with your friends. Help us get to the 1,000-point marker. And with all that being said, it is now time for the news.
Joining us now from the Digital 410 West News Desk in Las Vegas, Nevada, Gordon Abernathy.
Gordon, how are you doing tonight? I almost thought that part was recorded, but it's not.
It's not. Anyway, homing pigeons are known for what?
Shitting on statues.
Homing pigeons are known for
racing.
Homing pigeons.
They do have a homing pigeon racing division, by the way, and they are worth lots of money. But yes, they go from point A to point B, and they skip every point in between.
Well, evidently, a gaggle of homing pigeons.
Evidently or apparently?
Evidently. We'll do apparently. Interstate 95 in Florida.
Okay.
Had been closed for 3 hours after a kerfuffle with about 100 homing pigeons that fell off a truck, because they don't like to skewer their loads in Florida.
Yeah, right.
And they refused to move.
Go on now.
Creating a driving hazard to the motorists, according to officials on Wednesday. So this crate carrying the 100 homing pigeons fell off the truck late Tuesday night near Daytona Beach. Because birds roost at night, the pigeons said, I'm going to stay right here.
So,
bright lights from the vehicles startled them. They flew around in the air, creating a hazard for drivers. Can you just imagine cruising? You're probably bleary-eyed and tired, middle of the night, and all of a sudden there's 100 freaking pigeons everywhere.
Hey, sailor, what do you do? I drive truck. Ooh, what do you haul? Dangerous stuff. Homing pigeons.
Fine day. Good luck with the casual sex. I mean it. No, because you won't get it.
I'm sure Mike Tyson's quite upset.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a worst-case scenario, homing pigeons who can't find their home, said the news release. So they ended up gathering up about 73
They don't know where the fuck they're at.
Yeah, and it's nighttime. They couldn't get their bearings. Everything's a mess. They did end up recovering 73 of the 100 birds. And these birds were not banded, so their owner wasn't immediately determined. Our job is to help the animals find their way home, whether they're covered in fur, scales, or in this case, feathers, according to Volusia County Animal Control Officer Alicia Diaz. We're hoping somebody out there might have information to where these birds came from. Check Mike Tyson.
Check the manifest on the fucking truck that flipped over. Did the truck leave?
Probably. I mean, how much stuff do you see laying around on the freeways in Southwest Florida?
Oh, that's true. I thought the truck wrecked, but you said that boxes fell off.
Yep. Does it surprise you?
Wondering why I was getting better gas mileage halfway to Tennessee. My truck's lighter now.
I mean, how much does 100 pigeons weigh?
I don't know. Let's ask Google.
How much does a full-grown pigeon weigh?
How much?
So if they're a pound a piece, there's 100 pounds. If they're 2 pounds a piece, or 200 pounds, plus the crate.
Wow, 4.6 pounds more than. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Was that a Western Crown pigeon or a Muskegon Imperial pigeon?
What's the range?
Between 2 to 4 to 6 pounds.
So they lost between 200 and 600 pounds worth of load.
That's quite a bit of gas.
Speaking of loads, this lady may be right after your own heart. A woman eats 50 chili dogs in 22 minutes at a Michigan bar.
Wow, that's a lot.
Not just hot dogs, chili dogs. Now, I don't know if they're the Skyline piled up with cheese. I could only imagine.
Skyline's only like 4.5 inches long, too, so that's kind of cheating.
Well, but not all the cheese.
You know, I did that. I ate 10 of them, and then they didn't have any fucking film for their Polaroid camera, so all I got was a T-shirt. I didn't get my picture on the wall. Yes, I'm talking to you, Westland Skyline Chili on Georgesville Road, you bastards.
That's one of your favorite places to go, though, isn't it?
I haven't been there in a while, but yep.
So Rockford, Michigan, a competitive eater wolfed down 50 chili dogs in 22 minutes, setting a local record at the bar in western Michigan, where thousands of customers have had their names on the walls for eating just a fraction of that amount. Molly Schuler showed up and just started eating Wednesday at the Corner Bar in Rockford.
Weighing in at 87 pounds.
With their own meals. So after 19 minutes, she'd eaten 44 hot dogs.
Damn.
Brought out her 6 more dogs, and in 22 minutes, she ate the 50.
All these competition eaters are like super skinny, which is the opposite of what you think.
They had probably a serious binge after this. So another competitive eater, Tim Eater X Janice, ate 43.5 chili dogs at the bar in 2006.
Now, do they still do the water dipping part, or does the chili liquefy the bun enough? Because that's just gross. That's why I could never do a hot dog. When they dip
I don't know. Yeah, after watching all those Man versus Food. Anyone who eats, and they don't answer that question. But anyone who eats 12 in 4 hours gets their name on the wall, which has currently got about 6,000 names on it.
On my head.
12 in 4 hours.
She did 20 in 40 minutes?
Yeah. But doing 44 in 19 minutes, that's insane.
44 a period in one fucking day is a lot, let alone 19 minutes.
44 in a fucking year's a lot. Florida man. He's in the news again.
Yeah, everybody loves us now.
Yeah. It's another Daytona Beach story. Florida man told police officers that he was teaching somebody a lesson. What was this lesson? What was he trying to prove? Well, he tried to throw a live alligator that he had stolen from a miniature golf course onto the roof of a beachside cocktail lounge.
No,
the question is what's the lesson?
Well, for those of you who aren't from Florida, believe it or not, and we have one in Fort Myers, alligators at miniature golf courses, quite common. They actually have little baby ones in a pond. You can feed them turtle food.
30-year-old man was arrested early Thursday when Daytona Beach Shores police officers spotted him attempting to throw a gator onto the roof of the cocktail lounge.
That'll show you.
Located just off a highway, A1A, according to the police report. The police officers then saw the man take the alligator by its tail, hit it against the awning of the building, and throw it to the ground and stomp on it twice.
Take that, you no good bastard.
This man is from, evidently, the wonderful town of Homestead, Florida.
Uh-huh.
He was taken into custody and charged with possession and injury of an alligator. Unarmed burglary of an occupied dwelling. I don't know where that fits in. Here, see, I don't got a gun, but I got a gator.
It must be the house that he smacked the gator up against.
Theft and criminal mischief.
The
man told officers that he had stolen the gator from an enclosure at a nearby miniature golf course. And the problem is they're still not saying what the lesson was. Online docket showed no attorney for the man, who remained in jail Friday morning. I'm sure he got out on his own OR at own recognizance.
No, he didn't. You only get on your OR when you're being arrested for the first time. This fella probably has a rap sheet. He probably timed out. They finally had to let him go. He met the the limit. I was teaching him a lesson because some bitch ate my golf ball. How am I supposed to finish 18 holes without a goddamn golf ball because he fucking Gator ate it?
Or he thought it was like a fancy hole and he shot it right down its throat and couldn't get his golf ball back. Michigan man finds something quite unique under his home. Imagine finding 160 bowling balls under your house.
Somebody have a homemade cannon?
Well, you would think. Michigan man made a striking discovery under his house. This is AP for you. When he went to demolish his back stairs, about 160 bowling balls. David Olson, 33, said he found one ball buried in the sand behind a cinder block wall this month and continued finding more over the following days.
Yeah, and these are all the old school ones from the 70s and 80s. They're all black and then blue and black marble. There's like no modern day red ones or lime greens. These are all the old school ones.
Yep. I was actually a little happy about that because it's a little easier to roll bowling balls out of the way than to move sand and figure out where to put it all later. He believes that there are even more buried under his Norton Shores home. He contacted the maker of the balls,
Brunswick
Bowling Products, which had a plant in the area, and said that these were made in the 1950s.
Yeah.
He said former employees contacted him and told him the workers used to take scrapped bowling balls to use as alternatives to sand and gravel back in the day. Brunswick shut down their Muskegon plant in 2006 and said many of the balls aren't in good shape. They don't have finger holes and they aren't polished. So he's donating some and plans to give some to the Muskegon Heritage Museum. And he'll use the rest for landscaping or to make sculptures.
Or a homemade cannon.
Or
that's what I would do, a homemade cannon.
I would totally do the cannon.
Yeah, homemade cannon.
And that is what we have. Oh, one more.
Oh, hold on. That's just because we never get the chance to use it.
And now, breaking news.
A man tried to pay $200 bail with counterfeit bills. Waterboro, Maine, coming in from the AP. A man in Maine tried to post $200 bail with counterfeit bills, according to the sheriff's office. This guy's bright.
Mm-hmm.
He's smart. As sharp as those bowling balls. Deputies responded to a report of stolen vehicle in Waterboro early Sunday morning. Stopped a man walking nearby. According to the York
what you
County
doing?
Sheriff's office.
Chewing chocolate. Where'd you get it?
Doggy dropped it.
Carry on.
Sorry, I've got somebody's trying to get my attention over here. So they determined that he was not involved, but arrested him on an outstanding warrant for theft of a Walmart. You know,
can't have nothing nice these days.
Can't. The man said he had enough money to post a $200 bail, but when the bail commissioner arrived, he tried to pay with two counterfeit $100 bills. And I'm sure it was Monopoly money. He was denied bail and was returned to jail with an additional charge of forgery. The man was able to post a $100 in bail later that day. So he found a real $100 bill.
Well, I wonder
Sheriff's office said
when they
his
say
court date is scheduled for August.
I wonder if when they say counterfeit, if this is like counterfeit, like Good Girl style, where it's like legit counterfeit, or if this is like what you see on TikTok, where people are buying stacks of this Hollywood money that says, instead of the United States, it'll say, Hollywood, California. It's money they use in television shows.
Say 50 cents across.
Imagine if he tried paying his bail with that sort of counterfeit money.
I tell you, have you ever seen counterfeit bills?
Yes. The first time I ever saw counterfeit bills was in 2002 when I moved to California, and at the gas stations, you'd see them plastered up on the wall saying, do not accept these, because once again, not the ones that say Hollywood, but because, California is a place where a lot of crime happens, But yeah, I actually got counterfeit money back from a McDonald's one time as my change. I got a bum 20, and it's a little bit smaller in circumference, this particular one. Once again, it's like 19 years ago, so the counterfeit money wasn't as stellar as it is today, but yeah.
Yeah, my first time I seen counterfeit money was when I first moved here.
The Vegas, that makes sense.
That guy at work, he, man, look at this money. I'm sure he fucking had it. He was sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was super sketchy. Man, look at this. I was like, nah, dude, that ain't even real. I could tell it was fake, you know?
Yeah.
It was just not right.
Paper's wrong, the color's wrong. It's just
just
pure bullshit.
Yeah, but that is it.
That's going to wrap it up for this.
Pay bail.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's Your... Oh, wait a minute. No, we didn't do the outro. We were starting to do the outro, and then you had that story, so...
This concludes the evening news, and now back to the ACT Computer Studio in Cape Coral, Florida.
And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the What's in Your Head podcast. As always, please head over to whatsinyourhead.com, and you can download the videos there, or you can see the videos there. You can download the audio there. You can download the audios via all the audio apps such as iTunes, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere fine podcasts can be found. Gordon, where can people find you?
Oh, shit. Aegis1974 at Instagram. Gordon at D410 on Facebook.
And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Head over to TikTok and search for Donovan410. I'm getting closer to 10,000. I'm like 8,300 and something or other. Once I get to 10,000, I can get into the Cool Guy Club. But thank you guys so much. And as always, we appreciate your support. And we will talk to you all next week.
This has been a Digital 410 production.